We begin CBS2 News at 5 o'clock with breaking news. A man suspected of violently beating and killing several homeless people is now in police custody.
And now police are connecting him to the disappearance of family members in Texas.
And CBS2's Joy Benedict is live in downtown right now, where police just wrapped up a news conference. Joy.
That's right, guys. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, but investigators are saying that Ramon Escobar is the one responsible for beating 7 people, killing 3 of them in a crime spree that dates back to early September. And this may not even be where it all started. But this is a mugshot that we've obtained from the Department of Corrections in the state of Texas, where Escobar did serve time several years ago in a Texas prison. Police in 2 cities have been trying to find him for more than 2 weeks after they say the first homeless man was attacked on a Santa Monica beach back September the 8th. Another man was attacked while sleeping on that same beach just 2 days later and remains in a coma today. Police say that Escobar then grabbed a baseball bat and beat 3 men sleeping in the streets of downtown LA. 2 of those men died. Police say last week the crimes came back to Santa Monica, and it was this man, 39-year-old Stephen Cruz Jr., who was beaten to death while he slept under the pier last Thursday after a night of fishing. And then just yesterday, yet another homeless man in Santa Monica was attacked. He survived, and police quickly narrowed in on Cruz. They believe he is responsible for all 7 beatings in just 17 days.
It does not appear that it was directed at any specific group. I think it was a crime of opportunity, and as I stated in the previous press conference, it appears that the motive in most of these cases was robbery.
Now, Ramon Escobar is also a person of interest in the disappearance of his aunt and uncle in Houston. Rogelio Escobar, 65 years old, was last seen walking to the store in late August. And a few days later, his 61-year-old sister, Denora Escobar, went to his home to look for him and disappeared as well. We're told the younger Escobar was questioned in their disappearances, but then took off, leaving Texas for California.
You don't think that a family member is going to get charged with crimes that may be connected, or the gruesomeness of the details of those crimes. It's been very surreal for the whole family. We've joined together and just kept this going, looking for my mom and for my uncle.
And of course, investigators back in Houston still want to talk to Escobar about those 2 disappearances. Now, as for what happens in this case, police with the Los Angeles Police Department tell me they have recovered a baseball bat as well as bolt cutters that they believe were involved in those 7 attacks on men sleeping in and around the Los Angeles area. Ramon Escobar is being held right now without bail. Reporting live from downtown LA, I'm Joy Benedict, CBS2 News.
Finally, Bill Cosby has been unmasked, and we have seen the real man as he is headed off to prison.
Bill Cosby, once known as America's dad, now known as a sexually violent predator.
We're glad the Judgment Day has finally come for Mr. Cosby.
But Cosby's team is not done yet.
These injustices must be corrected immediately.
3 to 10 years, that's the sentence a Pennsylvania judge gave the disgraced comedian for drugging and molesting Andrea Constad. And CBS2's Crystal Cruz is live in the newsroom with that decision and the emotional aftermath. Crystal?
Journey to justice. Justice has been served. Those phrases echoed from prosecutors and lawyers who waited a long time for this day. While many are celebrating today, some are solemn about the downfall of a once revered icon.
A stunning side of the man who made America laugh for decades. Bill Cosby, a convicted sexual predator, sent to prison.
Mr. Cosby, do you want to say anything?
At a Pennsylvania jail, the 81-year-old shackled in chains as he's led to be booked. And the booking photo?
But I will not apologize for our job. And our job is to separate the predators from the good people in our community. And that happened today.
Andrea Constad, the former Temple University administrator, did not speak after the sentencing. Once again, she did all of her talking inside the courtroom. Here's part of the victim impact statement she read yesterday. Bill Cosby took my beautiful, healthy young spirit and crushed it. He robbed me of my health and vitality, my open nature, and my trust in myself and others. The jury heard me, Mr. Cosby heard me, and now all I'm asking for is justice as the court sees fit.
If anything like this happens to any woman or young girl out there, come forward, tell someone. Never keep it a secret. The secret is what will eat you up for the rest of your life. You'll never be free. Today, I am free.
Mr. Cosby knows that God is watching over him. He knows that these are lies. They persecuted Jesus, and look what happened.
Cosby's team went on the attack claiming conspiracy, deceit, falsified evidence, and racism in a trial they called unfair. Camille Cosby, Bill's wife, wasn't at today's sentencing, but her publicist spoke for her.
We have now learned and will prove that Bill Cosby was denied his right to a fair trial because the DA of Montgomery County, Kevin Steele, used falsified evidence against him.
And Steele rejected Camille Cosby's statement, saying if that's what they've got, it's beyond a Hail Mary. Cosby is spending his first night in a prison that just opened 2 months ago. Corrections officials will assess his needs to determine where he'll serve the bulk of his sentence. I'm Crystal Cruz in the newsroom. Back to you.
Okay, Crystal, thank you. Well, tonight a lot of people are weighing in on Cosby's sentence.
And CBS2's Lisa Siegel continues our team coverage. She's live in Hollywood. Lisa?
Well, YouTube reaction has been coming in fast and swift. Many people emotional here on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You can see his star. Many people I talked with believe the sentence was not enough. Bill Cosby went from one of Hollywood's most beloved stars to a fallen star, and now is heading to prison. At his star on the Walk of Fame, people are reacting.
I was a fan. My family was a fan. I don't think it's enough time, but I think it's better than nothing.
Makes you lose respect for someone, you know, and feel bad for the women that had to go through it.
After the sentencing, Gloria Allred, who represents 33 women accusing the comedian of sexual misconduct, spoke out, praising her client's bravery.
So this has been a long journey to justice for all of the accusers.
Her daughter, lawyer Lisa Bloom, agrees. She represents Janice Dickinson, who was there to see the man she accused of rape and more be the first major star in the Me Too era to be sentenced to prison.
I think for all of the women and men out there who are victims of sexual assault, they have a vivid example now that justice can happen, no matter how famous and wealthy, no matter how many high-priced attorneys a powerful man can retain.
Bloom says this is validation for those who came forward. Like so many victims, she says they were treated with hate, disbelief, shamed, and called liars. The Time's Up movement tweeted this message: Cosby's sentencing should serve as a reminder to abusers everywhere that no one operates with impunity. And Lisa Bloom says by no means is this story over with Cosby and so many others, but she hopes the message of this sentencing is heard loud and clear.
And I think everybody out there who's thinking, should I stand up for my rights? Should I report the rape? Should I speak out? I hope the answer today is yes, you should.
Well, as for Cosby's star, it will remain. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce saying it's regrettable when the personal lives of inductees do not measure up to public standards and expectations. But what they say is they simply do not remove a star from the Walk of Fame. I'm Lisa Siegel, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Now breaking news on the battle over Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. The Senate Judiciary Committee plans to vote the day after Kavanaugh and one of his accusers testify about what happened back in high school. Members of the committee are set to hear from California professor Christine Blasey Ford Thursday. She told the Washington Post Kavanaugh climbed on top of her during a party. Deborah Ramirez told the New Yorker he exposed himself to her when they were freshmen at Yale. Kavanaugh denies both accusations, and today President Trump said Democrats who are against Kavanaugh are engaging in a con job.
I think it's very unfortunate, but I think he's going to do very well.
Do you think his accusers are liars?
I think he's going to do very well. Really very well. He's an outstanding person.
Some senators say they also want to hear from Ramirez before any vote. No word if she will testify on Thursday.
And tough talk today from President Trump as he addressed the United Nations General Assembly. But it was also a tough crowd. He talked about international hotspots, but saved his sharpest criticism for Iran, accusing its leaders of a corrupt dictatorship. Iranian president then accused the U.S. of trying to overthrow his government and rejected the idea of talks between the two countries. Aside from the tough talk, the president boasted about the booming economy here and the accomplishments his administration has achieved so far. But some of the audience apparently didn't buy it.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Well, after the laughter died down, the president went on about the effects of his tax cut plan, the building of the border wall, and immigration reform. Coverage of today's top national stories continues at 6:30 right here on CBS2 and the Evening News with Jeff Glor.
Now to sports and the first day of Lakers training camp.
Yeah, this comes a day after the team held its media day and star LeBron James was officially introduced then as a Laker.
And CBS2 Sports Director Jim Hill is here now with what King James had to say today at training camp.
It was really amazing, and if you go to watch it, you better go early because the line's going to be real long, that's for sure. Pat, you're absolutely correct. After several summer workouts, LeBron James hit the court today for the first official practice as a Laker. The first session of training camp was all about defense, with head coach Luke Walton saying he was saving the first 5-on-5 scrimmage for tomorrow. Now, it's just day one, and after practice, LeBron preached patience for himself and for his teammates.
I can't give you a lot of information off one practice. It's going to continue to grow, but I love our locker room so far, and but we have a lot of work to do. It was a good start for us. I'm not a very patient guy, but I understand that I have to be, patient. Right now, I got to be patient with myself too, because this is a new start for me. It's my first year here. It's my first year in a new system. I know how to play the game of basketball, but this is all new to me too. So,
look, did this first day go as you thought it would?
Yeah, it was about defense. So, it was physical practice, but we challenged them mentally too, as far as being locked in and really kind of helping set the tone for the foundation of the team we want to be. What I loved about it the most was the vets were constantly grabbing the young players and kind of coaching them through drills as they'd make mistakes in it. So it was good to see that.
Now, LeBron also said the most important steps towards building chemistry with the new team, dedication, attentiveness, and how, quote, locked in you can stay. And when you think about it, Pat,
yes,
that's a good description and a good recipe for any business.
A lot, yeah.
Absolutely.
You better believe it, yes.
Including ours.
Yes,
absolutely.
Stay locked and loaded.
Locked in. No, and also we can always depend on Jim to give us that sage advice. Better come early.
Yes, real early.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, nationwide outbreak stemming from pet adoptions.
The warning from the CDC about man's best friend.
Plus a search for a couple accused of trying to lure two boys into their car.
Plus, he lives a Bel Air lifestyle in an $8 million mansion. Wait until you hear why a fitness mogul's customers are calling to on your side.
And a big mess. A water main floods garages and creates a sinkhole.
Boy, LeBron looked like he was carrying just a little extra weight there, Jim. I could show him how to trim that off. Maybe not. Coming up, the weather, it's on the way.